Men's aging faces are considered dignified and sexy, and they have salt and pepper hair. When do you ever hear women described as having salt and pepper hair?
You know what? Women can do whatever they want to make themselves look better. What's wrong with that?
But there's a culture in thinking that that's what looks better specifically on women. We shoot men in high definition, and we make women airbrush like emojis. And so I don't like that. I don't want to have Botox. I don't want to have filler. I don't want to have a facelift. I'm enjoying my grey hairs.
Well, Jamila, you are sitting here with dyed hair and a pound of makeup on your face, preaching about being natural. That's silly, no?
Gotcha, bitch! Where to start? So first of all, she's complaining about the fact that when men get older, they're described as handsome and silver fox and, you know, in a positive light. And when women get older, not so much. But who's responsible for that? First off, women are attracted to older men because older men have resources. So the only reason that older men are seen in a positive light is because women want them. Women want to be able to get their resources. Women want to parasite off them, gold dig off them. That's why older men are attractive.
He's out of line, but he's right.
And the reason that older women aren't attractive is because they don't have any eggs left.
I know it's not rocket science, but it seems like it's pretty difficult for you to figure out.
Fundamentally, what attracts a man to a woman in terms of our biology and evolution and the propagation of the species is the desire to reproduce yourself and your genes by having children. Older women, once they hit their 30s and definitely over 35, it's geriatric pregnancy, massive risk of a miscarriage or the child being deformed. So it's that simple. Older women are not fertile, therefore they are not attractive.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
You can complain about it all you like, as older women tend to, but it's just reality and biology. But we all know that women hate reality and hate biology because it hurts their feelings. Moving on.
Vacation.
Who's that?
Family vacations.
Who's that?
Nobody.
Let me see.
Nobody.
Who's fucking Joshua?
Oh my god. He's my friend.
You lying ass bitch.
He's gay.
What the hell did you just say?
He's gay.
That is blasphemous! That is blasphemous! How dare you? How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity!
He's just saying because he knows that I want to
JJ, go over there real quick. JJ.
Alright.
Go. Who the fuck is that? I will fucking put on a whole fucking scene in this motherfucker.
It's my friend.
Bitch! Please.
Who the fuck? But why they keep texting you?
Women be lying, knowing they lying, knowing you know they lying, and still lie.
Yo, let's play a game.
Okay, bet. I'll go first.
Okay, would you rather...
Never mind, you go.
Okay. Would you rather flash everyone at the bar...
Oh my god, I would never...
Or cheat on me with my roommate, Mike?
Shut it off.
No.
Stop recording.
No, I don't know why the f you did that. We've been dating. I don't know why you're crying. You literally cheated on me. I literally gave you everything. I trusted you.
I always find it astonishing when people genuinely ask the question, who cheats more, men or women? The answer is so obvious that it boggles my mind that it's even a question. First of all, fundamentally, I'm going to talk about the fact that it's literally the woman's reproductive mating strategy to cheat. Without even going there, it's obvious that women cheat more than men. Why? Because they can. If a woman wants to cheat, all she has to do is walk into a bar or a club or any public place and go up to any single man and say, do you want to fuck me? Unless she's grotesquely overweight, obese and ugly, obviously. If she's a 4 or above and not obese, any woman can get laid anytime she wants.
Of course!
and actually in the modern age, even the threes and obese women can as well.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
So basically, women cheat more because it's easy for them to get laid. For a man to cheat, he has to pull. He has to game a woman and get her into bed, which, as every man knows, is not easy. And so women must obviously cheat more than men because it's so easy for them to do it. They're getting hit on all the time. If they have social media, if they have Instagram, they're getting simps slide into their DMs all the time. Not just simps, actually, if they're hot, high value men as well. So it's a ridiculous question. It's an absolute, and it's the sort of question that can only be asked in a gynocracy, in a female supremacist society where everything is aligned to cover up the fact that women in general are not moral beings and are not what they're presented to be. Kind, caring, loving, empathetic.
Absolutely fucking not.
What are you?
They're transactional, predatory, parasitic, and basically sociopathic when it comes to men. Men are in love, women are in business. Women are only loyal to their feelings. A woman doesn't love a man for who he is. A woman loves a man for what he can do for her. That's the nature of women. It's 100% selfish. And our society has to cover that over because otherwise they wouldn't have millions of men willingly falling in love with women and marrying them and spending their whole lives trying to make them happy and working their asses off to give their woman what she wants, which basically drives our society, our capitalist society. It's men wanting women and wanting to fund what women want that drives our society. And if men knew what women were really like, men wouldn't do it. That's what MGTOW is. MGTOW is made up of men who understand the game. They understand it's completely rigged, that a woman doesn't love you, she's only using you, and with the marriage laws as they are, if you get married, you're an idiot.
What would you do with a brain if you had one?
Because 50% of the time, she divorce rapes you. Of the other 50% of marriages that last, 80 to 90% of them end up sexless because women's sex drive drops off a cliff after they have kids. Most women's sex drive drops off a cliff after they have kids. Plus, she only married you to have kids and for your resources. So she never loved you anyway. So most women do the bait and switch. This is the most common thing that happens to a married man, is that the woman will suck his cock and be a sexual Olympian to get the engagement ring. And leading up to the wedding, she will continue to act as if she's a happy-go-lucky nymphomaniac. But the minute, and this happens often on the wedding night, it certainly happened to me on my wedding night. Literally on the honeymoon night, she reveals the fact that she doesn't like sex. and she stops having sex. Now, that happens a lot of the time. More commonly, it happens after the first or second child, that sex just goes off a cliff. So if you get married, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to get divorce raped like you were Andy Dufresne in the Shawshank Redemption. And if you're quote-unquote lucky enough not to be divorce raped, you end up in a sexless marriage for the rest of your life. It's absolute insanity. There's really, in the modern age, there is nothing in not only marriage, but long-term relationship for a man. Women aren't interested in what they used to be interested in a long time ago, duty, wifely duties. It's my duty to have sex with my husband. That's why he married me, provides and protects. I have to have sex with my husband. It's my duty to keep the house clean, to make sure there's a meal for him. It's my duty to make sure that I raise his children well, to respect themselves and their parents and others. These were wifely and motherly duties that women used to have before 60 years of female supremacy, aka feminism, corrupted the minds of women and made them think they were superior to men, that all men were oppressive villains, oppressing the patriarchy and all this nonsense, and that women were victims of oppressive men and masculinity was toxic and a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. All this ideological bullshit literally corrupted the minds of women to the fact that they think they are superior to men and that they are the prize and that a man should serve them. And they don't need to bring anything to the table. Just the fact that they are the superior gender, i.e. women, just the fact that they have a vagina means a man should love her, take care of her, make her happy, and not make her unhappy. That is the mind of the modern woman. Which means, I'm going to talk about it a bit more, but basically any man that gets into a relationship, a long-term relationship, is a sucker.
You're a simp!
Only betas do that.
It's a sign of being a beta male.
With all the red pill information that's out there, men should know by now that women don't love men. Women just love what men give them. And she's not loyal to you. She's only loyal to her feelings. So when you meet her and romance her and wine her and dine her and then she gives it up, she's only giving it up to get you on the hook to be able to parasite your resources from you. But she doesn't love you. She's just pretending to love you. Like, men have to understand this. Now, if you're a Chad or a pro athlete or someone like that, she actually might desire you. You might be a fantasy figure and she absolutely wants to be yours if you are her first choice, or if you in some way match the fantasy that she has in her mind, because women live in a fantasy world called The World Revolves Around Me and My Feelings. It's all about me. It's all about my feelings. That is the fantasy world that all women live in because of female solipsism and emotional reasoning. And in that fantasy world, they've got all these archetypal men, the bad boy biker, the cowboy, the rough beast of a caveman, the smooth Sebastian Grey billionaire. They've got all these kind of archetypal Mr. Rights, and it's different for every woman, but if you can match that fantasy, and she's never had a man who fit that fantasy before, you can be her first choice. You can, in her mind, you can be the best she will ever get. And if you're in that very lucky and very rare situation, you can have a mutually beneficial, decent relationship with a woman. But if you're not her first choice, if she's already been alpha widowed, or you don't match that fantasy, she is going to deceive, manipulate, exploit, and eventually abuse you, because that's her nature. Her survival and mating strategy relies on using a man for his resources, and in terms of mating, getting a man who has a lot of resources but doesn't turn her on and hasn't got a lot of options to raise and fund the raising of the children that she has, that she wants to have with the alpha, the kind of guy who doesn't stick around, who's got the good genes, who's tall, good looking, rich, etc., etc., etc. Not even rich, actually. As long as he's got the good genes, he's the one that makes her wet. He's the one she wants to sleep with. And that's why, when you add that to, it's easy for women to cheat. And it's also their mating strategy is to alpha fucks, beta bucks. That's why these hoes ain't loyal. They're just not loyal. So cheating is nothing to them. And as you might have noticed, when they do cheat, they don't even feel bad. When they cheat, they blame the man they cheated on. I cheated because you weren't giving me enough attention. I cheated because you were at work all the time. But you wanted all these things, so I had to work. Yeah, but you didn't pay me attention. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that when they're caught, they immediately blame the man for, quote unquote, making them cheat? The reason I have a YouTube channel, the reason I make these videos is because it dumbfounds me that with the understanding of what female nature is really like and what modern women are really like, that's come from 20 years of the red pill, that men still fall for female deception and manipulation and parasitism. It just boggles my mind that so many men walk into the trap. And I've made it the mission of my life to prevent as many men as I can from simping for women, marrying women, getting into long-term relationships with women. The only types of relationships you should be in are situationships, friends with benefits, where she has no power over you. She doesn't live with you. You're not exclusive. So you can enjoy your time with her, but she has no control and she has no say on your resources. So she can't parasite off you. She can't manipulate and deceive you into doing what she wants because you're a free agent. What does Coach Greg Adams call it? Yeah, I think it's free agent lifestyle. You need to be a free agent. That's the only way to deal with women. If you're in a relationship, she is going to control you. They're much better at it than we are. They're better liars. They're more deceptive. Like I said, they do it like we breathe. They're more manipulative and they're heartless. There's no empathy for you. They don't care about your feelings. They only care about their own feelings. They're not moral agents. They're not moral beings. They don't think about ethics, what's right and what's wrong. They only think about, how does this make me feel? What's in it for me? They're completely selfish. And you're an idiot if you don't understand that by now. Okay, I'm not going to say you're an idiot. Maybe you've never heard it, in which case you're just ignorant. And if you're ignorant, then fine. I'm glad you found my channel because you can't afford to be ignorant, brother. You can't afford to be ignorant. If you've heard all this stuff before and you're still getting into relationships with women, then you're in a different class. You're deeply wounded. You've got a mother wound and it's like you're like an addict. You can't help it. Even though you know it's not good for you, you keep getting into relationships with women that just use you and cheat on you. And if you're in that class, I can actually help you. Because there is a way to break that addiction to women. There is a way to heal the mother wound. And click the link in the description. Moving on.
If I was a man, every woman would want me because I would just love and cherish them and tell them how beautiful and precious they were and kiss them on their foreheads, play with their hair, buy them gifts, take them to nice dinners, spoil them, worship them, and make sure that every day that they knew that they were the most magical and beautiful creature in the world. Yeah, if I was a man, I would do that. It's weird that you men can't keep these women around.
Nobody knows why liars lie.
Again, the thing that gets me is that there are men out there watching this, nodding their heads like a seal, going, okay, I'll do that. That sounds like a good idea. Brothers, if one molecule in your body believed what she said, you need therapy. Now, actually, you don't need therapy because that's been corrupted by feminism. You need a hero's journey initiation. You need help from elder men.
Kill the boy, Jon Snow. Winter is almost upon us. Kill the boy. And let the man be born.
That will kill the weak mommy's boy inside you, still seeking for the love your mother never gave you in a woman that thinks that if you just love her right, she will love you back.
That is not going to happen.
I'm going to stick the Leo meme in here.
Absolutely fucking not.
Absolutely fucking not.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
I don't know.
What's happening here is that the Chad or Tyrone that she thought she had a chance with, even though he was way out of her league, but because she's got an ego the size of the Goodyear blimp, as all modern women do, she thought she was in the same league as this Chad or Tyrone. So she thought he was actually going to settle down with her. And so she let him do full Pornhub business on her in terms of the holes he used, throated her deeply, gagging, all of it. She basically gave herself to him as much as she could, with that manipulative thing that women do where they think, well, if I give him the kind of sex that no woman's ever given him before, he'll settle down with me. And they don't understand that every woman is doing that to Chad. Every woman is doing that to Chad. Anyway, so he did what Chads do.
Pumped and dumped, whored and ignored, popped and dropped, slopped and blocked, plucked then ducked, pressed and left, hit and quit, rammed in and abandoned, sprayed and delayed, throated and ghosted.
And she feels like a fucking idiot. And this is most of the TikToks you see of these women is because Chad fucked them over. And so they come up with some self-justifying, accountability avoiding nonsense. It's not because you're chasing men out of your league and giving yourself up to them to be treated like dirt. And then when they dump you, like they were always going to, you introspect and self-reflect and say, oh, I was chasing a man out of my league. No, women don't do that. It can't be your fault because that would require you to take accountability. So you come up with a cope story. And your cope story is, if I were a man, I would have treated me like I wanted the Chad to treat me. Because that's what it takes to keep a woman. What she's leaving out of the story is all the men that treated her like that, all the simps who thought she was on a pedestal and above them, who worshipped her like she's asking to be worshipped. She couldn't stand. Men who worship women and simp on women are repulsive to women. Men who shit on women and look down on women are waterfall wet to women. They make them so wet you wouldn't believe. Because alpha fucks beta bucks. Women are only interested in men that other women are interested in. Women are only interested in men that have options and don't see them as special. All the, oh, you need to treat me like a princess, you need to do this, you need to do that, is for the betas. Beta male. For the providers. For the hosts to their parasite. That's what that's for. Chad and the actors and the rock stars and the pro athletes, they don't have to do anything.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
So, brother, please stop doing things for women to get women. You are pushing them away. My advice, the only advice that's wise, if you genuinely want to have sex with women, either pay for it, use a professional, or learn to be indifferent to women. Learn to not care about women, because then you have that indifferent, couldn't care less, mysterious, unpredictable thing that Chads and bad boys have. And the only way to... You can't really fake not caring about women. That's what a lot of gamers will try to teach you to fake it, but you can't fake it. Women are not that stupid. They know when you really want them. They know when you're thirsty. So you have to not be thirsty. And there's only one way to not be thirsty if you're already thirsty. And that is to master yourself, to master your thoughts, emotions, and libido. And that's what the Hero's Journey initiation is about. That's what the Hero's Journey Brotherhood is about. It's about teaching you to master yourself so that you can forget about women. You just won't need them because you're not thirsty anymore. And as soon as you're not thirsty anymore, that's when they come. But the beautiful thing is that when you master yourself, you become the best version of yourself and your life becomes the best life you could live. And so even if they don't come, or if the ones who come you don't want, it doesn't matter because you're the best version of yourself living the best life you can live. I mean, it's just the ultimate solution to the rigged dating game. And I'm going to keep beating this drum until The men who are wasting their time chasing after women that are just not worth the squeeze in any way, get this and turn their attention to mastering themselves and becoming the best version of themselves, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Woo! Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next one.
Stop complaining about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't put in. The only way to become more successful than most people is to be willing to do something most people aren't willing to do.
God, we should walk away from this.
Hold on. If I were to do this, if I even could do it, I'd need a guarantee. How do I know you can deliver?
You don't. But I can. So, do you want to take a leap of faith? Or become an old man, filled with regret, waiting to die alone?